All right, welcome everyone to our Ruby Monday Hangout for our project and talking about Ruby and going over the work we've done throughout the week. This week's going to be a fun week because not only are we going to be reviewing some of the work we've already done, but we're going to go ahead and talk about the future of the blog app and seeing what else we can work on as a team. We've got a good bunch and it's gonna be fun. So it's open. We go ahead and if anyone has pull requests they worked on through the week, we'll let them kind of have the floor, be able to screen share, walk us through the code they went in. Feel free to ask questions as we're reviewing the code. If you think there's a method that you could probably read a little bit better, or you have a different idea about it, feel free to just kind of speak up or type it in the group chat. And we'll just kind of discuss that. Once we're done with that, then we'll go ahead and talk about other things Ruby related. But again, thanks everyone for joining, and it's good to see a lot of people come back. Jesus, I haven't said hi to you today. What's up, Jesus? How are you doing?
Hello.
Yeah, we know we got to your backup on Ruby Monday, man. It's so important. Thanks for joining us. So let's kick it off. I think we have, if someone would be so kind to post the link on the group chat to our GitHub repo for the Code Newbie blog while I kind of kick it off, and that way when you're talking about your pull request, if you wouldn't mind sending a link in the group chat about your pull request, that way we could kind of follow it. Thanks, Jesus, on that. So, Alexandra, can we kick it off with you?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So, go ahead and send us the link to your pull request, and then go ahead and take over.
Okay. I have two. So, excuse me. This is the general one. And then I think might be a good idea to start with this one. Did you want me to share my screen or?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay. Can you guys see that or?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
So, excuse me. Sorry about that. I hope I didn't hurt anybody's ears.
No, you're
I don't
fine.
know what is going on with my voice right now. So basically, I mean, I want to start out with this one because I think this will actually just be easier. I just thought it'd be nice if we made the nav bar sticky, so we can still see it when we're scrolling. So if you look here, I have the Rails server going, and then whereas before it's like if you scroll down, you wouldn't be able to see it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me double check. I had it running a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so I just thought it would be a nice
Yeah, definitely.
feature. I mean, it's pretty simple, but it didn't require much to do.
Very nice.
So that's the first one. I don't know if you wanted to like discuss that first.
Yeah, definitely. Go into the code because that's a little bit of front-end work right there. So why don't you go ahead and go into the code and what it's
Oh yeah,
actually doing.
so let's see here. So if we go here, I mean, I just fixed, let's see. So what I basically did was I added a margin top to the body because after I first made the nav bar sticky, oops, sorry. After I made the nav bar sticky, all of this stuff was like pretty much, it kind of looked like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I needed to add some space so it would go down. And then I believe, where is it here? Sorry, I did this like such a while ago. I'm trying to see where I like changed.
It's always fun going back to old code, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I adjusted the nav bar, I believe, but I don't know why. I mean, oh yeah, right here. So, oh yeah, because it was bootstrapped. So I just added this here for the nav bar fixed top. I mean, all these other things appear in the CSS. I was just adding some spacing for styles.
Very good. Is everyone familiar with Bootstrap? If anyone isn't, then just go ahead and put a message on the chat and we can stop on that. So it's up to you. But if not, go ahead and continue.
Okay, so basically Bootstrap I mean, since it has this piece of code, I just put that into that partial view in order to make it sticky. And then I just added, again, that extra margin here, 50 pixels. So what I did was I inspected the element of the navbar to see how far down it was, to see how much I needed to push the body down, and then I just added that much for the margin top.
Yeah, that's always a really helpful tool, right? Using the inspect and be able to kind of tweak it on the fly.
Yeah, so...
You want to kind of show us a little demo of that?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, you just have to, at least in Chrome, you just have to right-click, and then you can press Inspect Element here. And what you can do is you can go to, like, each section. So here it says, right, like, you can see the navbar header that's, like, however many by 50 pixels, so that's how I knew it was 50. And it's kind of cool because if, say, you're doing HTML and CSS, I mean, you can use actually this entire thing for a lot of stuff. Like if you were working with JavaScript, you can like use the console to like log stuff. But I mean, that's a different discussion. But here, if you wanted to like adjust CSS, you could in the style. If you wanted to fiddle around with that. So yeah, I mean, it kind of shows you like here, so if like body, right? Here, if I was like playing around with it and I wanted to make this instead of 50, like, I don't know, 20, I think it should adjust that, yeah, so see, you
Yep.
can't see it anymore. So it's not actually changing your code base, but it's giving you kind of an approximation, so you don't have to keep like refreshing your browser and saying, you know, going back to your text editor and back and forth and stuff.
Very cool. So that was the adjustment for that. Anything else that went into this?
No, that was just, I mean, apart from some of the things here, like you see a lot of green here, that's just because I literally just added like a space next to the curly brace or something. It was just for formatting. I didn't do it like perfectly to everything, but I was like, there's all these formatting things, just to make it a little bit easier to read.
And Alan's got a comment. You want to go ahead and mention that, Alan?
Yeah, sure thing. So I think we should start moving code from application.scss into their, because it's kind of becoming a dumping ground, right? So I think we should move it into the respective folders or respective sheets. And if something is shared among different like pages, we should probably throw it into a shared style sheet.
You're probably right, and especially as we start growing this, and we do want to keep more tweaks, make more tweaks. It'll be nice to keep everything nice and organized. So why don't you go ahead and write a ticket around that, Alan? That'll probably be a good ticket for someone to take on.
Cool. Okay.
And then Jesus, can we agree on naming our PRs the same way, for example? So, yeah, that would be a good observation. Jesus, what type of convention? Well, let's finish up with going over this first, and then we can throw that into discussion about our PRs. So let me ask you something, Alexandra, on this. How is it looking? How's our navbar looking when we're on a mobile view?
Oh, you know, I didn't check that.
Why don't we look at it?
I'm not actually familiar with like.
No, that's fine. I mean, Bootstrap should be taking care of a lot of that stuff for us.
Bootstrap sometimes is problematic though.
Yeah, and that's why I want to see what it looks like. So there's two ways. You could just kind of like just resize your browser window and see what Bootstrap is doing for us. There you go.
It again. Rats.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the other way that I sometimes do it is if we do an inspect element. I believe Chrome can render a mobile view.
Oh, yes, that is true. I forgot.
And to the left of elements, there's a little icon right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think there's a way to like move this to the right, right?
Yeah, there is. Right.
Don't remember how to do that though.
It's the icon to the left of the X on the right-hand side.
Oh, there we go.
And then you got to do a refresh that kicks in. So don't resize that. Leave it as you could select a device on the top. So let's try to select a popular device like an Android phone or iPhone. We can do that. And then do a refresh.
Yeah.
Do that again. See? So something's going on with that. I don't know if it's
Do I need to restart my server?
I think we
No,
need
you shouldn't need to.
viewport tag.
What was that, Alan?
Yeah, the meta viewport tag.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. There's probably some meta viewport tag that's missing. I've had that issue before. Does anyone else have ideas on this? The more likely culprit is what Alan mentioned. There's a viewport tag that for some reason Bootstrap needs to be able to get it going. Do a refresh on that again.
This is the iPhone 5.
That's refreshed already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Try the iPhone 6 again. Let's see if that goes. And then Alan just gave you a snippet of code.
Okay. Well, it looks like it's fine. It must have just been, well, I don't know.
Do you know how to, do you guys know how to check this on your actual mobile device while you're in your dev environment?
No idea.
I wouldn't even know how to begin to advise on that because the only testing environment that I saw that was available to test something like that would be on a platform that was .NET.
Got it. Got it.
You know, I've never seen it for Ruby, which is disappointing because I think we should have this all over the place.
Yeah, there's definitely some tools out there. So Alan's mentioning a couple. Victor says that he uses an I/O simulator. Sometimes if I'm just doing something quick, what I'll do is I'll just take my IP address of my computer, just make sure my phone is on the same network, and then just put in my IP address and then the port. For example, if my IP was, let's see, something like 19, then do something like that on my phone, and it'll take you to that.
I don't even have a type of phone that could test that on. I just have a plain old, where the heck did I put it now? I'm always losing it. It's a plain, bare bones. This is what I have. There's no way to test a mobile app on this.
Correct, yeah.
And the only other thing that I use to test anything on is really my dev environment, which is either my desktop or one of my two laptops, which are Linux and Mac respectively, and Windows for desk.
So if someone has any resources, I think Victor uses an I/O simulator. Why don't you put them in the chat, and that way we can begin sharing these things for those that might not have a test environment where they can use that. That'd be great.
There's a Chrome extension that I use called Window Resizer, and that one has an easy way of just looking at different window sizes, and it just changes it so that you can test out different device window size.
Very nice, really nice. If you can find it, put a link on there. That'd be great to check out.
Okay.
And there you go. Alexandra is saying, probably, you know what, she's right. If we can do links on Slack, it'll probably be easier to kind of keep a history of it. And I try to copy these at the end of every show. Sometimes I forget to post a link to it on Slack, but I'll do the same. So, very cool. And then, let's see, so where were we with that? So the mobile, you might need to add a tag to make sure that it's working on mobile.
Yeah, okay.
Can you explain what that is, Alan? For those that might not know.
I actually don't know. I just know that it works.
So do I. And anyone else want to take a crack at it?
Well, I have this problem this week with one system that I'm working with a friend of mine. Basically, as I don't know if I understood what you're talking about. It's about the nav bar tag. Is it right?
Yeah, and then when we're rendering on mobile, it seems like the
basically when the cell phones began to rise in resolution pixel, they have a great resolution with a great DPI. So if I have a small phone like this, it informs the browser that it has a pretty high resolution. In the browser, it has no way to know that the real size, the actual size of the browser, of the screen that you're looking at, it's small. So we'll have like a screen that will be rendered in an LCD TV in a mobile. This meta tag just informs that you should, it's like a multiplier. I don't know how to say it in English. It's like this is the resolution, but you should render it, if it was 2 times this or 3 times it's lower.
Got it.
Got it? I don't know how to explain it in English.
No, I think it makes sense. So without
But
it, it's not rendering correctly because of how I guess they're zooming into it, so it's not realizing what the correct resolution should be.
Yeah.
And here's a blog post that I found on it. Let's see.
I sent a link in the chat with the. It explains clearly.
Thank you. Yeah, put it on Slack if you can too.
Okay.
Okay. Alexander, is that change? You want to test out that change in your code and see if you can throw it in already?
Yeah, I threw it in.
Oh, nice.
So it looks like it's working.
And then let's see, where did you throw it in? Can you show us?
Yeah, so I put it in right here, line 12, in the application ERB.
Is that a good place to put it? I've got no preference on it, but just kind of standard conventions, I guess.
I mean, I have no idea. I wrote that in the chat, like, if it mattered where it needed to be within the head.
Right. Usually I've seen it put like, more towards the top, maybe. I don't remember if it's before the HTML or after. I honestly don't. Alan, do you remember? What kind of standard convention is to put the tag?
What was the question?
Where the standard kind of convention to place the tag is at? Before the HTML or after the HTML tag? Yeah, the meta tags.
Usually the meta tags are like one of the first few, like probably like right after title, because
Right.
like meta author. So it's probably, I don't think it matters where you put it, but convention-wise, you probably need to put it before like all your style sheet and JavaScript imports.
Cool.
So do you think I should put it here?
Yeah, that's probably a good spot right there. Any any votes on where you should go?
All right.
That's probably as good a spot as any, unless
All
someone
right.
else comes in. So go ahead and save that and try refreshing, testing it out, and see how it looks.
Galaxy Note 2, say like iPhone 6.
We usually have it. Oh, that looks better. Right? There you go. We're getting somewhere.
There we go.
Very nice. So you want to push that up, and then so that it can get included in your pull request?
Sure. I feel like there might be a merge console export.
Let's find out.
Well, actually, maybe not. Well, we'll see. It's like. Oh, okay. No, that's clean.
Yes, it is. All right. So, any questions before we okay this pull request from anyone in the group? So I'll give you a thumbs up already. I'm giving you a thumbs up. Alan, what do you think? Alan says ship it. I like Alan's attitude all the time. Alan says ship it. Jesus, what do you think? And
It's good.
it's good. There you go.
It's perfect at my cell phone.
Very nice. So if anyone else has anything to add, if not, then we'll go ahead and submit this.
Just the title. The pull
Okay.
request title.
All right. So pull request title. Let's go back now. Before that. So do you want to go ahead and share the screen where the pull request is being made, Alexander?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So pull request title. Can you talk us through this a little bit, Jesus? What do you think would be a good convention for pull request titles, where we would edit that, etc.?
Yeah, I think we should start either titles with caps and don't have the issue number. We have that in the inside the comments, because I have seen people like this do this. And I think we should do this instead. Instead, inside the pull request.
Okay, so not in the title, but do it inside the pull request.
Yeah.
Now, give us a sample, if you don't mind, of what a good title for a pull request would be. Like, let's take this one for example. What would be a good title?
Let's see. So this title, I don't like that it says multiple things. I think it should be a single.
Oh, this. Got it.
Yes.
So,
So I will say something like fix the navbar to stay on top. Something like that.
okay, so something simpler, easier to read, and
Yes.
then any additional details make it in the comments.
Yes, yes. Exactly.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Alexandra?
Yeah,
All right, very
I didn't
good.
even. It's used to just like leaving. So something like this
There you go. And then
with the number or
no,
without?
without the number, and then in the comments, go ahead and if you go scroll down, I think there's a place where you can add a comment. Going.
So like down
There
here.
you go. And then just put like something like fix, and then the issue number you're fixing.
Okay. I guess it's 76,
No, that's I think your pull request number, isn't it?
right? Or oh, well, I don't think that this was an. I don't know if this was an issue actually.
Okay, so there was no issue around it, then you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah,
Just
I
put,
think.
you know, no assigned ticket to this. And Avino, so what Jesus was explaining is it's probably good practice to keep the title simple, something that's easy to read, and any details or links to the issue or ticket number, put it in the comments instead. Because if you put it in the comments, then it becomes linkable.
Okay, but I think it outcloses also if you put in the header. But I understand what Jesus said. It make it smaller to
Exactly.
extract these fixes to the comments. Okay.
Exactly. And then, yeah, that's a very good idea to add that. So all messages with caps. Yeah, perfect idea. Let's do that. Let's add this to the documentation. And things like that, go ahead and just remind me and ping me on them, and then I'll go ahead and work on that and add it to the project documentation. Very good, Alexandra. Thank you. So let's see, and you got the okay already, so you want to go ahead and merge this in?
Okay.
Drum roll. Boom, done.
Oh,
All right, thank you very much.
okay.
All right, so we have another.
Can I delete this now too?
What
Or
was
should I
that?
leave that to you?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can I delete this now or should I leave that to you?
It's up to you. What do you recommend? What does the group usually do? Do you delete your branches or do you leave them up?
Yes. Delete branches.
Okay, so there you go. You can go ahead and delete the branch.
Okay.
All right, very cool. All right, so I know you have another one, but let's go ahead and switch it up to Alan for his pull request, and then we'll come back to you.
Oh shoot! So I built mine off of Alexandra's. So I think it's probably better that she go.
Yeah.
Okay, so was this something that that you're waiting for hers to come through, and then yours will be on top of that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the order
There's
will
also
be,
that
let's
cherry
get Alexander's in, and then we'll review yours. I'm just trying to clear it up in my head.
I think there was some of that cherry where he like cherry picked some stuff.
Ah.
This is gonna be a longer one, I think, though.
All right, go ahead.
Let me.
You know, why don't you get it set up? Give me a quick second. I'll be right back. Feel free to chat amongst yourself, okay?
Okay.
Phew.
God bless you.
With you.
That'll teach me to eat too much dairy.
Are you allergic to dairy?
I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh, okay.
It really makes life hell for you when you like cream in your coffee or
Oh,
or ice cream. I always pay dearly for it when I eat dairy.
as opposed to, but you don't like non-dairy creamer or
I
anything?
absolutely do not. I go with the light cream or half and half instead because it has practically zero lactose in it, and it's a lot less expensive than soy and tastes better too.
All right. See, we get all kinds of recommendations on Code Navy.
Oh yeah, I research everything. I'll drive you nuts. You take me in the supermarket with you. I'm not going to be comparing price. I'll be comparing prices too, because I got to watch every penny. But I'll be standing there reading all the ingredients and everything. And that's when you have to grab me by the arm and go, Jay, don't read that. You're going to freak yourself out. You don't want to know that they put formaldehyde in the processed food.
Nobody wants to know that. All right, Alexander, you're ready with the next one?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's go ahead.
So this is one that you guys did discuss last week. Jesus was commenting there, but I think, me personally, I was like in and out.
Right. So I think
So
we discussed it, and we probably made some comments on it. So
yeah.
if you want to go over the comments and maybe address some of those, or if you already addressed them in the code with Alan, then go ahead and discuss them. We can go over it.
Okay, so I think last week you guys mentioned, I just added some, I wasn't sure if moving forward you guys were going to use like any of the device stuff, like the generated controllers and things like that. So I just decided to generate all of them. But I think it looks like it was collectively decided that the only controller that was needed was this registrations controller. So basically, I think the pull request ended up starting out by how, like in the sign in and the sign up page, it was only like email address and password, and then the week before we had discussed about, oh, should we add like a username or a first name or a last name or what have you. So and the consensus was, oh, let's add a first name and last name. So since I had done it before, I decided to just add it on there. So here we have that first one, right, a couple of weeks ago. Added first name and last name. Then I generated some of the controllers and stuff. And then it looks like after you guys talked, to be honest, I wasn't sure how to do this one. I think you guys had mentioned adding a not null thing, so maybe we can revisit that. But I think the other ones were basically just deleting some of the extra controllers that weren't needed. And then there were some validations that were added also.
So is this a core request that's ready to go, or what's the status? Or do you have some question around this that you want to go ahead and go over?
Well, it's not ready to go immediately because it does have conflicts which need to be merged, and I actually
Right.
did not see some of these comments here until just now. So,
That's fine.
yeah. So I definitely, I think I'll probably need help with the merge conflict with, I think that's Alan's request, but yeah, I have no idea what the not null thing is.
Okay. So why don't we go back up? Why don't we go
Okay.
back to each comment and kind of see where we're at? So
Okay.
do you understand the part on the not adding extra automatic generators?
Yes. It's just because like um well, I guess like you guys just wanted to add them as needed.
Correct.
So
And then the other thing, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, so I deleted all the other ones
Very
already.
good. Very good. So yeah, it just keeps the code base a little bit cleaner, that you don't have extra stuff. And then I believe that all you really needed to do was a database migration to add 2 columns or 1 column. No, 2 columns, first name, last name. So that's really all you were needing. Now the not null, Jesus, you want to go ahead and explain it?
Yeah, so in the database, you can have constraints, which are like validations in Rails, but much stronger because they are at the database level.
Does that make sense, Alexander?
I think so.
So, so if I understand it correctly, what you're doing is you can always add some validations in your model, right? In your user.rb or
Uh-huh.
something has to be completed. But when you add it directly in the database table, then you're going even deeper. It's like an extra layer of security, where now, even if Rails doesn't have the validation, the database itself is not going to let you not have a null there.
Okay.
So that's what it is. Now, let's read up a little bit because I don't recall. I kind of recall this conversation, and I think it was suggested first to add the not null requirement, but I think we backtracked on that one. Would you mind kind of going through the comments?
Yeah, sure. So it looks like this was the part about the controller. And it looks like it starts here. Let's add a not null requirement to the 2 columns.
And
There's a
then Alan
discussion
made a comment on that. So I think Alan says it makes sense for author roles, but do we really need that for reader roles? So do you understand what's going on there?
A little bit. I mean, I know that there's the 2 roles, but I wasn't sure because I wasn't, or that's the part of the discussion that I was kind of out of. I wasn't really sure in terms of the code.
Right.
That would, yeah. But
No
I mean,
worries.
it makes sense to me in my head because the authors are the ones that, I mean, they're going to be having the permissions for writing it, right? And they're going to be the ones that have to have their first name and last name showing.
Exactly, because that way they can give credit for that. So to kind of fill you in on the discussion, so I think what we were talking about is if we went ahead and added that restriction all the way down into the database level of
Mm-hmm.
not allowing null, then if we ever wanted to create a reader without a first name and last name, even if we didn't have that validation in Rails, we wouldn't be able to do it because the database itself wouldn't allow us to do it. So I think the consensus was let's not add it at the database level. That we will just let Rails handle validation. And that
Okay.
way, if it's an author, Rails will say, yep, we need a first name and a last name. However, if
Okay.
it's a reader, Rails will go ahead, okay, it's cool. No big.
Okay.
And that's where we kind of backtracked on that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so so there you go. Alan's talking about not not knowing exactly how to do that, but I think it'll probably be easier for us to just go ahead and keep it in Rails and Active Record versus going all the way down to the database level. Does anyone have a different opinion on that? You got any thoughts on that, Jesus?
No, I think it's fine not having a database constraint in this case because we want to be able to have multiple roles, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So every time we added a new role, we will have to change the constraints, and it will be a bit of a pain to maintain.
Yeah. Yeah. And is everyone following along so far as this ticket goes? Any questions, Jason, Nick, or Victor, or Jacqueline?
Nope.
Nope, I'm good.
All
I
right.
can actually pay attention to 5 things at one time.
That's fine. It's an art.
This
There
is what
you
I'm
go.
doing right now.
That's fine. All right. So go ahead, Alexander. Let's keep going. So, did you make any changes? Is there anything else on this? Let's see.
Yeah, so this is starting to be after, I think this was your comment here, and then this is when I started doing some committing.
Okay.
So I removed the unnecessary auto-generated controllers, and then I think it was suggested somewhere, I don't know where that comment is, but to use like the newer hash syntax for the routes.
You could
After-
probably see comments if you go to the actual the files, the code right on GitHub. You can comment individual line items. Maybe that's where you saw it.
Yeah, but it's not there.
Okay. So,
Or it was suggested somewhere I saw it, so I was like, okay, well that takes like 2 seconds. So.
all right. So does everyone know what that hash syntax is? So pretty much, do you want to show what the difference is, Alexander, between
Yeah,
the
so it's
old
right
and the new?
here. I mean, basically, just instead of, you know, having the colon and then the what they call like the hash rocket.
Yeah.
It's just literally like I think the colon, right?
Mm-hmm. And
Moving
before the
forward.
colon would be before the method name, and then the new way, the new syntax is after the method, and just you avoid the hash rocket altogether.
Yeah.
And Jesus is acknowledging that it was his comment.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
So you did
Jesus. I
see
don't
it.
remember. I don't remember where it is.
It was there. You didn't make it up.
Yeah, I'm not going crazy. Okay. And then added validations to the first and last name. So
You can show us the code for it?
yeah. So just in the user.rb validates first name, last name, present's true. And then I just did a test for it.
Okay.
And I did do this as well. This is probably actually, this might show everything. Yeah, this is probably a better file. So basically, sorry, validates first name, last name, present's true.
So you started off with just validating the presence, and then
Yeah. And then I added if they're an author, basically.
exactly, because we don't want that validation if they're just a reader.
Yeah.
So you want to show us your if author code?
Yeah, so here I have, you can see it used to be line 4, and now we have line 4 and 5. So 4 is for the author. And then I just, if there's a new user, and then I just put this sample. Sorry, I'm not very creative. I didn't come up with a creative name, but it would just be easier to use that. And then I just put those in, and then if you see here, this is the validation for the test. So basically, when the user is an author, it should validate the presence of the first and the last name.
Right. There you go.
Whereas
And Jesus
for the
is raising
reader,
his
it
hand.
doesn't have to.
What's going on, Jesus?
I think we have factory gear. Why do you don't use factory gear for your test?
Oh yeah, because Factory Girl was not there. I don't know if somebody's added it after that, and I was actually unfamiliar with Factory girl. I mean, I'm still getting familiar with it. That's which I think is pretty cool and awesome, but I don't believe it was in here. Well, let me just make sure I have the right. Like if I go to the gem file, like it's not in there.
So it was added after you started working. Is there a way to just bring in Factory Girl into this PR? And I think Alan, that's probably what he did.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Alan probably did it because he did mention Factory Girl, like, oh, so then we just did it that way.
Okay. What would be, Jesus, do you want to explain what the advantage would be of using Factory Girl?
Well, with Factory Girl, you can use a build user, and that gives you a user object with the name and email and everything fill in.
That way
Yeah,
she doesn't have to go ahead and get creative with a new user.
Yeah, so you don't have to fill in all the fields.
Got it. All right. So let's go ahead. So is this something that we can work on and then it can get refactored later as far as the testing goes, or does this have to be fixed before we work on this PR? I don't know if that makes sense with that.
Yes, we can refactor it later.
Okay, the refactor the test, correct? That's what we're really talking about. Okay, so go ahead and continue with the share, Alexandra. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's it. In terms of other people's comments, though, I mean, I do have merge conflicts for sure. I'm not sure what I. Okay, these were added like really recently.
Oh yeah, nice.
So it looks like I don't know who this is.
That might be someone just following along a Slack.
Yeah. So they're basically saying like, can we add more tests, basically?
A couple extra tests so you're covered with everything.
Yeah.
And they give you an example, right?
Yeah. So.
Okay,
so
I see
like,
what they're saying.
It's invalid with a blank first name.
Yeah, so you're giving a little bit more scenarios. So I think you have a scenario where there is a first name, last name, and you have a scenario where there's no first name, no last name.
Yeah, well, the second one was for not even for the author, though. It was for the reader.
Right. So now they're giving you a couple scenarios for the author, I think.
Yeah, this should be for the author. That would make sense, because, like, it doesn't really matter, right, if the reader even has a first name or last name.
Exactly, but the author, yeah, we want both.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's probably something that we can include on the test for the author.
Okay. Should we add that now, or?
It's up to you. Do you want to add it now?
It's up to you guys. I mean, I'm still like new to test and stuff, so I would appreciate the help.
Yeah, so why don't you do it now? That way, if there's anyone that can help me with it. I'm not a master of tests, but I know there's some here that are much better than I am. Much better than I am at testing.
I think we should actually just use the shoulda matchers for that, because that tests for like the validate presence of that automatically tests for like the blank scenarios, because we have that gem in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you want to give an example, Alan, on how we can do that?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. You guys see my screen?
Yep.
So this right here is oh, you know what? Actually, I'm not sure if this is a shoulda matcher. like if you just do this, the validate presence of, that automatically tests for like the blank case. So it tests for stuff like a blank string or like a bunch of spaces or even nil.
Okay. And that's just something we get by having the shadow matcher, John?
I think it's from the shitta matchers. I believe so. I can just look it up real quick.
How did you feel this this ticket, Alexander? I know that this was the first like big ticket that you took on, I think, aside from the little bit of Brennan.
What was the question?
How did you feel working through that ticket? Did you feel like it was...
I mean, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like this is kind of cool. I can do something to help out. But yeah, I think it would have helped probably if I was in the conversation fully last week, because I saw the comments and I was like, oh, and then I saw this, I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about. I was like, but I'll try and fix what I can and get through it. But yeah, no, I mean it's a good learning experience for me though. So I mean I've definitely learned a couple new things. So.
Okay, so what do you think, Alan? Should we change to the way the test is written to use the shadow matchers?
I kind of refactored it a little bit in my pull request because I built off of Alexandra's.
Okay, so why don't we work then? If you're good for it, we have a request for a live merge conflict. You could thank Abinoam for that one.
If I was watching this live, I would definitely say the same thing. So I want to do it the right way because I think the right way is supposed to be rebasing, but I haven't done too many merge conflicts. So if you would like to walk me through.
Well, I think we've got some good support for you here. So if you want to go ahead, Abinoam's got the default answer. You can ask Jesus. You're popular around here, Jesus.
Okay, Jesus, do you want to help me merge conflict my way through this so I don't mess anything up? Didn't you rebase last week? I thought he did a rebase like last week, and he said he's gonna get expert.
No, it's just Jesus is modest. That's all. So let's go ahead and see what we get. So, are we doing a merge conflict, or are we rebasing? What are we trying to accomplish with this one? Any opinions? Merge conflict. All right, Victor says merge conflict. So let's go ahead and go through the steps for the merge conflict then.
Okay. So basically.
And if you want to screen share again, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot I undid that.
No biggie.
Sorry. I undid it to try and give Alan before. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see my.
Not yet.
Let me try and. Is this better? Can you guys see this?
Oh, there you go. We can see it.
Is that big enough for everybody?
It seems like it.
Okay. So I guess. Well, I already tried to shut up. So. I mean, I pushed the branch up to upstream. And then this is.
You pushed it up already, right?
Yeah, and so this is what happened. So does somebody want to
usually, if you click on that use the command line, it'll give you a couple hints at what you could do.
Okay.
So what it's telling you is you're going to fetch the origin, so you can get the latest master, I guess. And then what you're going to do, go ahead and do a get fetch origin.
Okay. Wait, is that, well, I have origin as my local and I have upstream. I have you guys as upstream.
Get fetch upstream.
So I should fetch what?
You should
Upstream, right?
fetch upstream.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, can someone go ahead and explain that to me?
Oh.
I'm not. No, go ahead. You can do it, but just if someone can walk me through what this upstream thing is.
Yeah, so it's the way she has her remote set up. So Alexandra, can you hit get remote?
Yeah.
What was it?
I was about to do it. Yeah, V. Well, V is
That's
short
V.
for versions, but
So she has two remotes, right? Like origin points to her personal repository or fork of it, and then upstream points to the main.
Oh, got it. So she
Yeah.
forked the repo.
yeah. Well, it's just like I feel like a safer way sometimes
I got it.
to make changes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so I fetched upstream, and then I'm in the branch already, right?
Okay.
So I guess we can try and merge
That's good.
upstream master. Oh, I'm scared. Yeah, okay, no, not something we can merge.
You should you got to do git pull upstream master.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe it might nuke your repository. I don't know.
Oh, well.
Oh man.
Oh no,
Okay.
I think that was intended, right? So that
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
that pulled the upstream master. So a pull is a fetch and then a merge. So I believe that is merging the upstream. Yeah, that's because it says okay. I think you're right. So now you got to fix the merge conflicts.
There you go. We're good. We're good. We should have like a 5-second delay on hitting enter after any commands that we throw out.
Oh, just to be like, ah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and
I
see
was paying
what
attention
came out
to
of
all of this while answering another question somewhere else online. Just so you know, to answer your question, I'm going to tell you all a joke. You call a group of deer a herd and a group of seagulls a flock. What do you call a group of software developers?
this. Uh-oh.
I have no idea.
Merge conflict.
Ah.
Bada bing.
Okay.
I think that was a really good idea, though, that Jocelyn mentioned before. I really like that.
You got some good ideas around here. All right,
Yeah.
go ahead and open it up, Alexandra. Let's see what we got.
Okay. Am I opening it up in? I guess I'm opening it up in this branch. Do I have to go back to master and then open it up?
No, you're
All
going to
right.
be opening it up in yours because
Okay.
that's where it would have been marked up.
Okay. Maybe it might be helpful to look at.
You
So
can
if you
do a git log. If you can do a git log in your terminal, it will bring up all the individual git commit histories, and you can see, you know, if you put messages on every one of them, which git commit you want to look at.
And right here, when you saw the original message, it gave you the two files where you have the conflict. So if you look where it says conflict, content, merge conflict, and
Oh yeah.
there you go. So those are the two files that you want to look at. So one of them is your routes.rb file.
Okay, and then everything.
So what you want to do is you have the two options there, and you want to I guess
Delete whatever we're not using, right?
right. And what's the difference here?
So this is the
Oh, the old.
yeah, the old versus the new. So I can probably just delete all of that as well as line 2.
Mm-hmm. Save that. Okay. And then you had another conflict in your schema.
Schema.
What's the issue with the schema? Are we missing doing like a migrate or something?
I'm not sure.
So I got a question about that. Like I run into that all the time with conflicts on schema, but like
Mhm.
schema is like automatically generated anyway, right?
Correct.
Is there I don't know. Does it, if you merge something there, or if you mess up something there, does it like really matter, or like what's the deal?
You know what? I'm not sure. Does anyone know? If not, we can go to Almighty Google right now. But Jesus, any ideas on this? Victor, what we got? Nabinwan, Nick? Nope, no ideas. Why don't we start looking something up then? What about? Have you looked anything into that at all, Alan? Well, you ran into this before.
No, I just like fix them like normal. Usually it's only the timestamp that's different.
Right.
So I don't know.
That's where it always happens for me. And if I understand the way it works, if you do rake migrate, it rolls all your files forward. But if you do rake db setup, it just loads the schema file, which is the compiled versions of all of them.
So you're suggesting that a clean fix would be doing something like rake db setup?
If you're new to a project, yes.
Okay. But what about like what we're looking at right now?
First time, that's what I would run, and it loads just the schema.
So, sorry, I kind of missed it. So what you're saying is right now that'd probably be a good thing to run rake db setup or rake db migrate?
If it's your first time through, like what I would have to do, setup is the way to go. If you have it running on your machine, migrate just rolls the last changes forward from on your database, and then it sets a new timestamp in the schema file. Every time you migrate, it condenses that schema file and makes sure that that schema file is up to date by the timestamp.
Got it. Got it. So, Alexandra, right now, since this wouldn't be the first time you're running this, right? Since you have this already.
Mm-hmm.
What does the group think? Do we try a rake db migrate on this?
Well, that's what's causing this problem. Every time you run it, it's going to update that timestamp.
Oh, okay.
So you just want to keep the latest version of that timestamp. That's why Alan said it always happens for him, and he just updates the timestamp, or he cleans out the old one.
Oh, okay.
So that's totally normal. Every time you migrate, it's going to update the timestamp in this file.
Got it. So which one should we keep on this one?
We should keep the last one.
Which would be the
that one that she has highlighted.
That's the one to keep right now.
Yep,
Yeah.
because that's the newest one.
That's the newest one.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to delete 16 through 14 then.
Yeah, and then
line 18. Well, now line 16.
Yep. All right. Now go ahead.
Now, when I pull this down to my machine, for the first time, I would do rake db setup. It would just use the schema to get me up to date.
Got it. Okay, now I see what you're saying. Okay. I think you're ready. Let's try this out. Save it and commit this to your branch and see if we solve these conflicts.
Okay.
You push it to your branch, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Whoops. Thank you. I almost did that to master. But I... Success.
All right, now let's go look. See if our conflicts have been resolved.
There we go.
Boom. And then the consensus is ship it.
All right.
Any other comments before we ship? And then let's try to follow the conventions that we talked about with Jesus on the naming. So that looks pretty clean.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Do we have a ticket assigned related to this pull request?
oh, I think.
Go ahead and look.
Yeah, it's in there. Like 668 or something. It's already in the.
Oh yeah,
it's already in the comments.
Yeah, it'll close the issue.
Very good.
Okay, so should I add that still, or just not?
No, it's already there. Then
All right.
it'll put it in.
Oh yeah. Okay. Ready?
Ready.
Okay. Woohoo!
Confirm it.
All right, I'm gonna delete now.
Delete branch. Oh,
Okay.
perfect. Great work.
Well,
Man, look
thank
at
you,
you.
everybody. This
2
was a
PRs
very,
in one night. Whoa.
yeah, this was a very good experience for me. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, I'm glad. And you know what? This is how you know I'm getting a kick out of this live merge conflicts.
Oh, thank you. Saying that I survived. Yeah.
That's always fun. And yeah, it made everyone nervous seeing it, so don't worry. We're all in the same boat. Yeah. All right. Very cool. Well, congrats on that. Thank you so much for contributing. So, Alan, you had something to work off of on that one now.
All right, we'll see. I probably have a merge conflict too. Yeah, I do.
You're gonna make Abhinav smile even bigger now.
Well, I'm actually going to try to go through this pretty quick, and if because I know you had some discussion planned, and we're already past the hour.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So if you want, get it set up. I'm gonna grab something really quick. I'll be right back, but get it set up in the meantime.
Okay. All right. You want me to wait for you?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
It'll be good. All right. Thank you for that. So we're ready when you are.
Cool. Okay. All right. So let me. Am I screencasting? Do you see yourself? Yeah. Okay.
I see myself.
All right. So the thing I wanted to add here was authorization policies. So we have authentication in GEMS, but or, I'm sorry, with the VIs, but authorization is a little different, right? Like an author, if he or she authors a post, like only he or she or admin should be able to like edit or delete it, right? So like, for example, like a random reader shouldn't be able to like edit or even like touch that resource other than show. So the gem that I added was Pundit, and I guess there's a couple different implementations you can use. Like there's can, and
Right.
Pundit. I just went with Pundit because it just seems like that's the preferred method, I guess now. Not entirely sure, but okay. So let me check out my branch real quick.
And just really quick before you do that, just to kind of touch on that. So what we're talking about is, I guess, authentication versus authorization, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So device takes care of the authenticating for us. You know, are we even allowed to log into this app? And then what Alan's talking about now is, okay, once you're logged in, what's your authority over different things? So and that's the difference in a nutshell.
Cool. Yeah. Could have said it better myself. Okay, so let me go over some housekeeping stuff real quick. So I did change and add a couple things. So the first thing I added was in RSpec, or excuse me, .rspec, and I added this line here, format documentation. And if you're not familiar with it, when you run tests, usually like you'll see like the like a bunch of green dots and then like a bunch of fails.
Yeah.
I prefer the documentation method, where if you see on the left over here, it actually shows whatever you put in the like the it blocks. So you can see exactly what's passing, what's failing.
Oh, good.
Just personal preference, and it was in a couple books I saw. See what else. I also cleaned up the gem file. I was getting a little out of hand, so I split it up in basically the first section would just be your core dependencies like Rails, Postgres, and then your front end stuff, stuff like Sass. I think we had a couple like web fonts over here.
Right.
Back end stuff. I did add annotate, which I'll go over in a second. and stuff like devise, Kaminari for pagination, paperclip for attachments, and pundit, which is the recent addition I added. And then I split up the different development and test environment gems. And I also added a production group just in case we wanted to add something like like Rails 12 factor or something.
Right.
But yeah, I think I put these all in the right locations. I believe, like, I don't know, like I put like factory goals both in development and test because we might need it in development if you're like generating stuff.
Right.
Actually, you know what? Are we using Faker and Populator in seeds?
We're using Faker. I don't remember about Populator.
Yeah, actually we are. So, so actually this is in the wrong location, right? Because like if that'll fail in production, I believe, because you're gonna get. Well, actually, you don't want this in. Okay, so completely separate issue, but I do think we're using seeds the wrong way. I think this stuff should probably be in like a separate rake task, so that you only invoke it like in your development environment. But that's, I don't know if you guys are cool with that.
Yeah, that'd probably be good. I think just to document the process of kind of discovery and all these things, it's always good to write a ticket around it.
Okay. Good
So if you could write a ticket around it, that way we can kind of see like, okay, we ran into this issue and we kind of have a history of everything.
Okay. For sure. Let's see. Okay, so one I added that kind of changed a lot of files. So if you look at like the pull request diff, there's a lot of there's something like 30 files that have been changed. Most of the changes are from the annotate gem. So if you haven't used the annotate gem before, what it does, it basically pulls like the information from your schema.rb. So basically the most current state of the database, and it puts it in each respective like model file, your model spec, and it basically shows like all the relevant fields and some of the constraints. I know a couple other users here in CodeNewbie use it. Just something that helps out, so it's like one less file to open.
Okay, cool. I've never used it, so that's something new for me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, like even if I went up like the spec, for example, that pops it in over there too. So like for posts, the post ID shows it in there. I think it also populates your factories too. Yeah, it touches your factories as well. So a little bit of housekeeping I did in user.rb. So I moved set default role to a private method, and I refactored this over here. So I don't know, this just didn't feel right to be a public, I guess like endpoint or public API for the user record, user model rather, and basically so. After you initialize or create a new one, it'll just call set default role over here, and that sets it to reader. Other things I did generate the user's factory over here, so this produces a bunch of users over here. I don't know. Is everyone here familiar with Factory Girl?
Vaguely.
Okay, I'll just do like a quick run through. So basically, like Factory Girl produces. Actually, this will probably make sense if I pull up my user spec. So, or maybe not. Okay.
Well, part of the problem is the Google Hangout window, the left side where it has the icons for like different things like chat and the screen sharing capabilities thing, was obscuring part of your text editor. I'm going, what's he doing? There we go. Yeah, see that now I can see. Yeah. What does that exactly do? Does that make a dummy mock-up?
Very similar. So this is like an alternative to fixtures. So usually like Rails just ships with like mini test and like fixtures where there's like it's like a YAML file.
Yep.
So what Factories does, you can, instead of like, say for example you want to generate like 100 users, right? Like with YAML. Unless you use like ERB, you have to like write out like 100 different users records worth, right? But for this, every time I generate a factory for a user, it automatically sends an email, and your email is defined over here, where basically it's a sequence. So it gives one@example.com all the way to like 10 or 100. It gives every time you generate it, it gives each user a password, and it just generates a first name and last name.
That's a really good tool.
Yeah, so like I can show real quick over here. I do.
That does more than the built-in fixtures and test suite that comes built in with Rails.
Yep. Yeah. So if I do, let me just build rather. So if I do like factory build and then symbol user, that'll produce a user with email one@example.com, give a first name and last name, and you can override any of these, right? So if you want to do role as author, it'll do that. And since we use enumerable, that's going to be role 1. I also added some traits in here too. So if you just want to do build author, that'll automatically build an author with role 1. Right. You could override pretty much any field depending on how you set it up over here.
Now, is there any safety mechanism in place so that say another developer comes on board and accidentally steps on some code or something and generates you don't want to override critical information. Does Factory Girl offer a way to make sure that doesn't happen? Or is there a way to secure Factory Girl or to secure the use? Maybe I'm not putting this correctly. Let me back this up. I guess what I'm asking for is I just watched you generate a user.
Right.
And suppose one of the other developers sitting here said, oh, great, I'm going to generate another one, and you accidentally stepped on and overwrote, an already generated user through Factory Girl.
So I mean, what's important to note is like these like factories or these users and fixtures, they're ephemeral, right? Like you're only going to invoke them when you need your tests, and as soon as your tests are done, basically each like describe or actually each describe block that you invoke users, if you have transactional fixtures off, it's going to completely clean the database. So it's like and if you're working with other developers, each development environment is going to be isolated, right? So like my set of users is completely A, it's fictitious, and B, no one else has access to these users either. Is that going to answer your question?
Yeah, that answers it perfectly.
Okay.
That's where I was just thinking, because at first when I saw you do that, I'm going, oh my God, is there a way to prevent, a development disaster from happening?
Okay, so let me go over some of the stuff I refactored off of Alexandra's pull request. So just as a reminder, she added validates first name and last name, presence true if it responds to author ? And so how I tested that, basically here in this RSpec block, I create 3 different types of factories here. So I create a reader, an author, and admin. And one thing I do with factories is I always test them to make sure that they're valid. And the reason for that is I like to be alerted, like if I add another validation that will suddenly invalidate all my users, I want to know that my factories are out of date or need to be updated accordingly. So the majority of the work that tests this line over here in line 25 comes from these 2 blocks, right? So basically, I use these context blocks. So I say that when a user is an author, I just expect that it validates these 2 fields. And when a user is a reader, basically not an author, it expects it not to validate those 2 fields, right? So I don't know. Any comments on that?
I don't have any on that. I think Jesus had a comment. I'm not sure if it's exactly on what you're doing right now, but Jesus, you want to go ahead?
I wanted to comment on the default value
Oh, okay.
for the role.
So that was actually personally, I would rather have it as a default, like in the schema, but that was just the way it was when I got it. Literally all I did was just move it to the private method. We can do a migration if you're cool with it.
So what you're saying is instead of setting it up right there, why not already create that user with a role as reader in the database, right?
Yeah. So the only issue I could see that's a little tricky about that is that so in the database, users or user roles are stored as integers, right? So like we kind of like lose the information. We can literally change all the roles in the
Mm-hmm.
database just by changing this. Like if we change this to the order, like author and then we're changing the meaning of the stuff in the database. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess since the roles are defined here with enumerable, to now that I look at it, I think it kind of makes sense that actually setting the default role should be here.
I agree with that.
Okay. But I found this Stack Overflow question, and it says a word of caution. Basically, it says don't use after initialize. It says you should be using before create.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
I posted a link in the chat.
Yeah, yeah. But before create or before save?
Before create.
Okay. Yeah, I can change that real quick. Yeah, personally, me, I'm not a big fan of lifecycle callbacks for models. Well, actually, for anything, but specifically for models.
Can you explain that, Alan?
Yeah, sure. So like, what's it called? So lifecycle callbacks are basically, I should probably pull up a post or a list of them. So if you look up like model lifecycle callbacks Rails.
Just earlier today, somebody said that you can't do developing by Google. This proves that wrong.
Yeah, I'd say about 90% of my time is with Google.
Yep.
So these are active record callbacks, right? And basically they're hooks that execute code before those events or after them. So like before it validates, it can execute code, or like before saving or before creating. So I think a good example would probably actually built into Vise. Probably somewhere it'll probably be like a before save or before create. It'll do something like send mailer or something, right? So like if you have like a confirmable, if you use like those like confirmation emails,
Correct.
it'll add this hook over here where it's like before create send mailer, and send mailer is some method that sends me email to the person. So basically before a user goes, in this case, before a user goes from like initialized, or I guess it would be like new. So the step between like user.new and user.save, it's going to execute set default role.
Correct.
I don't know if that was a good answer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now,
That
what
actually
about the part
makes
where?
a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
go ahead. Sorry about that.
Sorry. No, I was just
Did
saying what he said makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about life cycle callbacks before in that way. Never really gave it much thought. But seeing that, yeah, now I'm thinking about it.
That's good. I'm glad. There you go. So the one thing that you mentioned, Alan, was that you weren't a fan of them. Can you go over a little bit of that?
Yeah, I guess. Let me see. I guess like after, especially after reading like Sandy Metz's practical object-oriented design in Ruby, you almost like you end up making spaghetti code, right? Like you add like dependencies there and like have like unintended consequences. Like a perfect example would be like, okay, so let's go back to like the mailer, right? So like Devise's mailer, where it does like before create, send email or whatever, right? The problem here is like if you're on your production server and you like want to create a user, it's gonna email regardless, right? Or you have to do some like weird stuff where it's like, I don't know, like skip mail or some crap like that, right? So it adds like unintended behavior that's almost giving this user object more responsibility than it should. I don't know. I guess it's a matter of like design and opinion.
Got it. So how would you be able to accomplish some of the things that the callbacks accomplish without using them? Or how would you have to set up your code so that you don't need to use them as much?
Yeah, so I think a rule of thumb I use is callbacks are okay if it only touches like its own data. So in this case, like I'm actually okay with this. But if it's touching other stuff like mailers or say like posts, I use service objects, and service objects it's literally just like plain old Ruby objects that I don't know if someone has a better explanation of it. I could send a couple articles that kind of
that'd be great. I think that's a good topic to touch on.
Service objects. Yeah, you can see all my links here are purple. I just don't like reading up on this. So I seem to recall that this one is not this one. Actually, if you just like Google this and like you could spend like a good like day just reading all this.
Yeah, no, that's a good topic just to even throw out there. Thanks.
Actually, this one right here, gourmet service objects. This was a good thing. So let me
nice.
I'll post that in here.
Yeah, thanks. Very nice, thanks. All right, so go ahead. Is there more?
Yeah. Shoot, I'm probably like running over time, but okay. So that's all the refactor stuff. So getting back to like the actual like authorization policies. So the demo added was Pundit, and what that adds is I'm gonna have to open up a couple files here.
Sure.
Application controller and the post controller. So the majority of or the only like authorization I added was stuff with the post controller. So shoot, what's a good way to say this? Actually, why don't I just open this up? Okay, so if I log in, let me log out. Right. If I just log in as like a regular user, I don't know any regular users info. Let me just sign up.
That's okay.
All right. So if you go to like the posts, like you shouldn't be able to like select this post and like delete it, right?
Right.
But the owner should, right? So if I log out and I log in as I think it was new@example.com. Okay, I messed that up. Oh, it's because I generated those factories. Okay. Let me just actually just this is what I'll do. I'll just log back in as that person, and I'll just change the role. So it was what was it? It was someone.
Someone at example.com.
Okay. So if I change that person, that's user.last update attributes role. I'm going to change that person to an author, and that's actually, just to show you, that's going to fail, right? Because that person doesn't have a first name or last name, right? So,
yep.
So that committed, and if you check it, that person is now author role. Right? So if I do a refresh here, that person now has the ability to create a new post, right? And I'll go over that in the pundit policy. And if that person has posts, okay, so this like post belongs to someone else, right? Like they can't edit or delete it. But if you create a new post, now that person can edit or delete it. So the reason I wanted to go through that flow is because that'll make more sense in the controller level. So if you look at the post controller, I added some callbacks over here, right? So this one comes from Devise. That just authenticates that the user is logged in before they can visit the new or create action.
Yep.
And I added this one, after action, verify, authorize. And if you look at the Pundit docs, all that does, that's more of a development tool. All that does is it raises an error if one of your endpoints isn't, if you don't actually use the authorization, right? So if, actually maybe I should just go over this. So like, for example, like the show over here, by adding this line over here, authorize post, it'll check whether or not the current user is authorized to view that post. And where that's defined is in this post policy over here. And basically I have this set that anyone can see a post, right? Because anyone that's logged in should be able to. Now for like new, when you do authorized posts over here, it's actually, okay, let me show this. So this post policy, this inherits from application policy over here. So if I open up application policy, you can see that new, by default, unless you override it, defaults to, or is delegated towards the create method.
Correct.
So here in create, I just check if A, the user is present, and either one of two conditions exists. Either the user is an author or a user is an admin.
And by user present, you're just checking if he's logged in, right?
Yeah, I guess that's not really necessary. Actually, it is necessary. Or the user needs to be messed up, or because if the user isn't logged in, this will be nil, and then it's going to fail when any of these methods are called on it.
Yep.
So this is pretty much, I think, this is the same. Oh, actually, no, it's different. Okay, so to update a record, or to update a post, either of two conditions need to happen, right? Like either the record author needs to equal the current user, or the user is an admin. Basically, like, people should only be able to edit or destroy their own posts.
Correct. Or be an admin.
Can you say that again?
Or be an admin.
Yeah, or be an admin.
An admin can destroy any post, though, however, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. So you can see I added like this section over here, authorized post. Actually, I think I added these two. Actually, these three actions, I believe I added over here.
Now, where is the instance variable at post defined? I didn't see that.
At post. So in each action, it's like pulled over here, right? So if you're hitting show, it'll find it from the.
Okay, I see. All right.
Yeah, you're defining it in each action right there.
Yep.
Is there a way to maybe abstract that out?
Yeah, so you can do something like before action set post.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to limit the amount of callbacks when I can, because then you need to do something different here, right? Like you want to only do this on show, edit, and create. So I don't know. It just you can.
I think on the controllers especially it's a little bit tricky because your post is going to mean different things on different actions. So it's a little bit trickier.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the terms of a private method that you would then call within that controller, so you wouldn't have to keep typing every time you add an action that has to do with the post, that you wouldn't have to keep, defining post inside every def block. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think, so I know like Michael Hartle in his tutorial, he does that. So literally it's that thing I type, right, where it's like before action set post. And then over here you can do the private method, right?
Yeah.
So we can do that.
You could do some abstraction, right? Like I see, for example, even if you don't do the callback, like if you did the, you have some duplication between show and edit. So you could probably abstract that post.find params ID to like a current post private method or something. And then you're not loading it up every time. So if you put it into a private method and something like post, and then the pipes and equals post.find params ID.
Oh, like this?
Yeah, and abstract that to like a private method. And then now you would, right there where you're at right now, now instead of calling directly the post.find params, you just call something like current post.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh, without a callback. So have something like current post.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't need the pipes equals right there. You would just need the equals, and then the pipes equals, you would do it on the current post.
Sorry, can you say it again?
Yeah, so right there where you have the pipes, get rid of the pipes. There you go. And then you'll use them on the current post method.
Okay, cool. What's that? Find params.
And then if you want, you could use the post and then the pipe equals. That way you're not loading it up every time that it's already there.
Post that.
At the beginning of that, so post equals post.find.
Oh, oh, do this.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so this should actually be, it's like set post, right?
Yeah, something like set post. And then you don't need to do it as a callback. You could just, you know, right there in your method.
Oh, I got you. Okay, okay. So let me. So this should just be like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Put that back up again, please.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah, that looks a lot cleaner.
Cool. Okay. I'm good with that.
And not only looks cleaner, but I think it'll help in the I don't know if efficiency is the right word to use. But you know, as far as keep calling on certain methods and stuff, that I think that definitely helps it run more
How'd your
streamlined.
test do? Sorry, I want to double check on your test.
Say something?
How'd your test do with that?
Oh, yeah. I don't think we have any controller tests actually.
Okay.
I don't like controller tests personally, but I can check. Actually, yeah, someone did put controller tests. Yeah, so I guess everything passed. So.
Nice. That's good.
Cool.
What are you using to test? Are you using RSpec or using the Rails testing?
Using RSpec.
Okay.
So our testing stack is I can pull it up. So we're using Factory Girl, what is it? Yeah, we're using, actually, where's it's right here. We're using RSpec, and then for feature tests we're using Capybara, and we're also using the gem Shida for some extended RSpec functionality. Cool. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if anyone had anything.
Any questions from the group? Abhinoam, any questions? Alexandra? And Renan's got a question. Do you prefer Capybara instead of controller tests?
Oh, me personally, or?
I think that's what the question is, since you were walking through it.
So yeah, I prefer. Well, actually, I try to limit the amount of feature tests I use. But I only use. I do prefer feature tests over controller tests. The only time I'll do a controller test is if I have like a complicated redirect. So like a good example would be like if. Maybe I don't have a good example. Basically, if I have a complicated redirect where like I want to make sure that this happens every time, then I'll do a controller spec.
Right.
Like,
now, would you kind of just quickly, if you have a quick way of explaining the difference between a feature test and a controller test?
Sure. So if a feature test basically is like the highest level test you can do, where it literally like goes through your app and like clicks on stuff, right? Like it's probably be better if I open up a feature test. So all the feature tests are usually stored in spec features, basically in this folder over here. So let me pull up one over here. So like to make a new post, it'll literally it'll log in your user. It'll go to new post path, so it'll go to click on this button. Well, actually, no, it won't click on that button. It'll just go to this URL, right? And then it'll take this and fill it in appropriately, and then actually like click on buttons. So I think you can actually get this depending on the driver. I think I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Usually, depending on the driver, it'll actually launch a browser. That didn't work. Okay. Never mind.
Live coding 101.
That's
Very cool.
scary to do in front of people, though. You know, I gotta admire you guys for being willing to do that. I'm shy about that.
No, that's fine. Yeah, this is the right spot to do that.
I'm very shy.
I'm glad you joined us, though. That's a good thing. So what else do you have on this pull request, Alan, that we should go over?
Shoot, it's been a long time ago. So maybe I'm like messing this up, but I don't know of a good way to like build off of someone's work before it's actually merged. So I have like a bunch of stuff here that like Abinoam did, that Alexandra did. So it's a little hard to like filter out. I think I covered all the high points. Let's see, let me just do a quick scan. Oh, actually, I missed a pretty major point here. So one of the adders, or one of the additional things that Pundit adds, let me pull up the nav bar, for example. So if you go, forget the name of it. Posts, it should be under layouts. Okay, so if I go to the nav, so one of the things I wanted to add is that if you're not authorized to even create a new post, like you shouldn't even see that button there, right?
Right.
If I go over here,
If you're not authorized to create a new post, why would you even be able to see the create a new post page?
Yeah, exactly, right. Well, so the way if you configure the application control or the post controller,
Right.
it's gonna kick you out, right? Like if you go over here,
Yeah, you wouldn't even be able to.
it'll error out on line 7, right?
Kick you out or say, you know, you do not have authorized access or something, some kind of pop.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. So like you're protecting that endpoint, and I should probably go over this too. I'm missing a bunch of stuff. It'll actually raise this over here, pundit not authorized error. And what I'm doing here is I'm rescuing from it, so that when that does happen, instead of getting like a I don't know, get like a 500 error message, it'll add this to the flash saying you're not authorized to perform this action, and it'll redirect to back, or if that doesn't exist, it'll take you back to the root path.
Correct.
But like on top of like protecting that URL, you also want to make sure, just from a UX standpoint, that like they don't even see this button, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what this syntax here does. Like if you basically check this policy, the policy of the post, and you ask if the current user has access to that. So like the pseudocode would be like, actually I don't know.
Yeah.
No, you just start
we get it.
it. Fine. Does the user have, you know, does the user have authorized access? That's perfect pseudocode.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I wouldn't want to like write it all out in actual code in the thing, but pseudocode-wise, that's exactly what you did. I can see that. That's really a good thing to put that in there, because I was wondering about that and thinking, okay, why should I be able to see this page if I don't have authorized access? What should happen is if I'm the user and I go to that app, that site, or whatever, and I go to make a post, and I'm not signed up or registered or approved or whatever it is that you have to do to be able to join to do that, I should actually not even see that page. What I should get instead is just you do not have, you know, authorized access to do that, or you do not have permission, you know, to do that. I shouldn't even see, not just the button, but the entire thing. It should actually gray out that form for submitting for inputting text to submit a post.
Right, and I think what was happening now is we were already doing that kind of our authorization or authentication was taking care of that for us. So we would get redirected and not even get there. So if correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, what you now did more as kind of a UX standpoint, where from a UX standpoint, why are we going to give you a button that says create? When you click on it, all it's going to do is error out. So what you're doing here is now fixing our UX, our user experience, and not even giving them that option unless they're authorized to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So like here for when you show a post, let me hit it right here. So if I go to some post just some random post, like I won't see anything over here for like show or delete.
Exactly.
Or edit or delete. But
Right.
if I look out this code over here, you'll see this over here. But because we set it up in our controller, fingers crossed, if I click this, it'll say you are not authorized to perform this action.
Right. But why even get to that point if we can just not even show them the edit unless it's an option for them?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's
good.
what these things add over here.
Very
So
good.
cool.
Very cool.
I think
I think there's a couple things that you're going to have to work on as far as merge conflicts go, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Do you want to go over the other stuff?
Let me ask the group because I think I've made the mistake of starting with a pull request every time. I keep forgetting how interesting these things are, and then we kind of go along all the time. So is the group okay with discussing the new project and the going forward at the beginning of the next Hangout rather than trying to rush through it right now? What do you think? Abhinav, Alexandra, well, pretty much everyone here. Are you guys okay with that? And instead of trying to rush it right now, let's talk about it first thing in next week's Hangout.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
That sounds cool.
Jesus, Renan, you're entitled to join in also, so don't feel like you didn't join in it. Very cool. Okay, so let's do that then, and that way we're not rushing through it right now. I think I try to take into consideration a lot of the thoughts that everyone's had on that, and we'll work something out that's going to help everyone kind of keep pushing forward and still bringing new people to the mix. All right, so Alan, back to your ticket you were working on here. So
Sure.
what do you see going forward? What do you think you're going to have to do to be able to get this merged in?
I don't know. The same thing Alexandra did, pretty much.
You have 10 minutes. You want to get started now?
Yeah. Do you want me to do it in the background, or you want me to do it live?
Well, you might as well do it live. I see Abhinav laughing already.
Victor says, "LOL, live merge conflict."
There you go. No mercy.
Knock out now. Come on.
No mercy.
Well, I gotta commit some of the changes we added here.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a good hangout though. It seems friendly and
Well, I'm glad you think so. Thank you.
at least that somebody won't get eaten up and their head bit off if they.
No, that's definitely not the group for that.
Yeah, I like that aspect.
See, Abhinav says it wouldn't be fair to Alexandra if she got to do live merge conflicts and you didn't.
I agree.
Oh my God, that reminds me what happened during Real World Summer of Code 2013, which is when I started learning programming.
Mm-hmm.
I was just learning my way around Git, and it was just the whole thing was new to me. The whole field was new to me, other than the solving problems part, because I have a math degree. But there was a merge conflict that happened, on our team, and I got walked through how to resolve a merge conflict.
That's definitely a fun time. I remember.
It was like jumping. It was like, okay, I don't know how to swim except maybe doggy paddle a little bit and being.
There you go. So, sorry about that. Alan, you want to go ahead and kind of just describe what you're going through? I know you're doing it live in 10 minutes. But go ahead and walk us through it.
So I did I pulled the upstream master onto my branch. So just a reminder, that's a fetch as well as a attempt to merge, and I got two conflicts, two conflicts, maybe three. So in the schema and the routes. So I opened up routes over here. And I actually don't see a difference here.
Let's see.
I actually see no difference here at all. It's probably, yeah, I don't know.
Tabs. Could be tabs.
It could be tabs, yeah.
Well,
Search for tabs.
I have the tabs over here. These are all spaces. It's literally the same. I have no idea why this would Okay. Whatever.
Alright. Sure.
That's the good thing about tests, right? Is ideally you should be able to test for this.
Yep. Or blank lines, as you mentioned.
The schema and this one. Did I miss it? Oh yeah, it's this this thing over here.
Yeah.
Well, this is weird. I've never seen this before.
Lines.
This is yeah. Oh, that's just a new one.
Blank lines.
Blank lines. There you go. Nothing too serious.
So
What else do we have?
that's pretty much it. Actually, this. Oh, you know what? I need to bundle real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the gemfile.lock would be. I don't know.
Yeah. Our gemfile.lock shouldn't be an issue, right?
Well, so here's what's weird. Every time I pull from master or I try to merge, my bundler just drops this tag for some reason. So I don't know if it's me or I don't know. So I guess I can just check that out. It's not doing anything.
And then Alexander says there's also something in the nav partial. Was it?
Oh, is there? Oh yeah, I guess there is. It'd be different. Oh, I don't know. That's weird.
Let's see. So.
So from my editor, it says that this line is different.
Well, yeah, but I'm not sure if it's a merge conflict then. It might just be that it's telling you that it's.
Oh, you know what? That's probably just pulling up what Alexander did.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But it's not a conflict.
Okay, so all the merge conflicts should be fixed. So I'm just going to do get commit. And then I could push that up.
Push it up and let's see what it looks like. Drum roll. Oh, there you go. So are we ready, team? you got like a big smile on. This should be like a thing, like live merge conflicts.
Yeah.
That would be great for a GitHub tutorial.
Okay, I'm gonna press the green button.
Let's go ahead and make sure we're conforming to our new naming guidelines for PRs first.
Add authorization policy.
Yep, and we got the numbers on the tickets. Very good. Go for it.
Okay. Cool. Delete.
Awesome. Delete our branch, and we're good to go. That was great. Great work, Alan and Alexander today. That was awesome.
Can I just add one thing? Just
yeah, go for it.
For anyone else that's developing. So now that we have the authorization policies, you need to be careful about your users, right? Like you won't be able to. You need to manually create your authors, right? Because that's not in the sign up yet, or there's no like UI for that. So you have to find your user and then the user dot class dot update attributes. Basically what I did before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the key is over here. You need to set that person as a role of author. Otherwise, he or she can't author any posts.
All right.
That's it.
Very cool. Cool. Well, thank you very much. So some of the things that we've got going that we might want to write some issues, some tickets around is kind of tying back into what you just mentioned right now. We do need to have some UI for the admin functions, so we can add roles to people. So we're not doing this from the console. So so that would be something good to look into, and maybe we can write a ticket around that. Abhinoam, would you like to help us with that? Writing a ticket around that? Were you able to catch that? Sorry, you're muted. So no worries. So what we're saying is that we should have a little bit of UI around admin functions. So for example, an admin should be able to add make someone a author, authorize them to be an author, things like that. So would you want to write a ticket around that? You don't have to code it, but just write the ticket. Very cool, thank you.
Do we want to use a gem for that, or
Is there
do we
something good
make
that you would
it
recommend?
active admin? I have used it before. It's pretty good. There is also Rails admin.
Okay, so active admin, Rails admin. Any thoughts on that from the rest of the group? Do we want to write our own or active admin, Rails admin? Why don't we put it on the ticket for now? Just put it on the ticket, and then we can check and see if we do it. I would kind of lean towards writing our own, just so we can get the experience of it. Even if there's something out there, but write it in the ticket, and then we'll let the group discuss it. Very good. Anything else in media that you think we're missing?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if my code introduced this, but I'm having trouble creating new posts with there's a conflict with the tags. For whatever reason, I didn't touch any of the code with the tags. If there's like you could tag or something, it'll error out.
So write a ticket around that again, and then that way it'll give the opportunity for someone to work on that. So from the group here, is there any tickets that you're interested in taking on? If we look at the repo link, there's two issues that we know we just wrote right now. So adding the admin interface, we have some SCSS code out of application. We've got a couple open tickets. Anything that someone's interested in taking right off the bat? If there isn't, then what you can do in the next couple of days, kind of look through the open tickets, and then next week when we start the discussions, we'll start distributing them amongst the group. Abhinav, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I have to pass through the issues to see what fits to me.
Very good. And if you need any help, like if you think that you'd like to contribute but you don't find something that you think you know how to do or that fits your skill set, by all means ping me on Slack, let me know, and I'll try to help you out and find something that would be good for you to get started.
What is your name on Slack? I don't even know. I feel bad.
Oh, don't worry about it. Let me check. Let me check. I think I'm just, let's see, I might just be Angel or Angel Jose. Yeah, Angel Jose. I'll post it right here.
Okay.
Angel, if there's a ticket that we want to work on, what's the policy to put our name in the hat for that?
Oh, perfect. Thank you for that question. So let me do a quick screen share here. And it's nothing too complicated. It's actually very simple the way we've set it up. So, for example, can you see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Okay. So we have this new admin interface, right? So what you would do is if you go to the assignee, first, you're already added as a collaborator to the project? Okay. So go to the assignee section, look for your username. Like, for example, if I wanted to take on this, I would just look for myself here. And there, now I'm assigned to that. And then you can use the labels as well. So for example, if this is something where I need some help, so then I can add the help wanted.
So I can add myself to any ticket that I want to work on?
Exactly, as long as no one else is taking it.
Okay, and if someone else is on a ticket, then that's their ticket. Unless they have help wanted or something.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll notice that there's a help wanted tag. So it would be a good idea to look through those because maybe someone's waiting to work on something and they just need a little bit of.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and that's the easiest way we found to work on that. Now, when we start seeing that they're planning up and that they're, sometimes people are nervous about assigning themselves to something, then I'll jump in and help them out with that.
Alright.
So, for example, this one's open right now. I don't think anyone's assigned themselves to it yet, and this is one that we've been kind of pending for when we deploy to Heroku. So Heroku doesn't support image uploads natively. What was that?
I was just looking at that one and thinking, do I feel confident enough to try it? I forked the repo.
Yeah, why don't you assign it to yourself? If you haven't if I haven't added you as a collaborator, send me your GitHub name on Slack,
Oh, okay.
and I'll go ahead and add you and assign yourself. And you can always put the label of needs help on it or help wanted, and then you can have someone from the group help you out.
I just
And
put
also,
it in the chat. I just put it in the chat.
Oh, very good. I'll go ahead and add you to that. And then
Yeah.
also the best resource, Renan, send me your GitHub name, and I'll add you as that. And then it's the Ruby Monday Slack channel is very active with a lot of people that are willing to help you out through this process. So let's go ahead and I'm going to add you both right now before I forget.
Yep, that me.
And then let's see.
That me.
There you go. Okay, so we got you all invited. Okay. So, very good. Well, unless there's any other questions before we start closing up from anyone, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not too savvy with Heroku yet. So I'm going to have to take some time to deep dive that for that ticket.
Sure, don't worry. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to complete it in a week's time. If you made some progress and you're stuck, then just jump on the next Hangout next week and we'll start talking about it.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you everyone again. It was an awesome Hangout. Thank you so much for joining up, for working through these. And feel free to chat in the Ruby Monday Slack channel and ask questions away. But thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
See everyone next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Next week.